Hello everyone and welcome back on my channel. If you're new here, my name is Catherine, and on this channel I talk about being child-free by choice, I talk about living an intentional life, and I talk about other topics I find interesting. And today it's about a topic I find interesting. It's about piercings. I want to do a video about all things piercing related, just because I've just gotten 2 new piercings. So I've gotten a nose piercing done and I've gotten my third earlobe piercing. So I have 3 piercings on this side now and 3 piercings on this side now. So I have 7 piercings in total as of right now. I've gotten these piercings done on Saturday and we have first day today. So it's a little under a week that I've had these piercings, so they're still brand new. So I just thought I'd do a video about all things piercing related in the context of my piercing experiences. So that's what I want to dive right into today. So the reasons I want to get piercings is because I want to express myself, and I do not want to become afraid of other people's opinions and other people's judgments, because no matter what you do, people will judge you, no matter if you're doing good or bad in life in general. So people will always judge you for what you do, so that should never hold you back. So you should do what you want to, and you should do what you love, and you should do what feels right to you, and you should express you in the way you want to express yourself. And for me, one of those ways is just piercings, especially ear piercings. I just love ear piercings, and there's definitely some more ear piercings that I want to get done. I've thought about getting a 3rd earlobe piercing over here and a 4th earlobe piercing over here. And I've also thought about getting my tragus, so the little part here. Thought about that. I've also thought about getting crunch piercing, which is the one that sits in here, and you have a ring through that. So I've also thought about getting that. So it's mostly ears piercings I've thought about getting, but I've also thought about getting some facial piercings. I thought about getting a septum, so the one that sits up here, so and it goes down here. I thought about getting that, but the only thing I'm doubting there is if it will look nice on me. I simply don't know, because all of the people who both has a nose piercing and septum has 2 nose piercing on each side, and I just think having 2 nose piercings on each side would just become a little too much for me. I don't like having a lot of facial piercings. That is not for me. So I don't know if that would look weird with only 1 nose piercing and then a septum. So I don't know about that. But I've also thought about getting a Medusa, so the one that sits in here. But what I'm worried about with that one is just simply if it will go in and damage my teeth and my gums, because I don't want any piercings that do that. And also I think when it's right here, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. And honestly, getting your piercings done, like a nose piercing or one down here in your earlobes, honestly, you barely feel anything. Or honestly, I didn't. I barely felt anything, and I'm sensitive to pain. Of course, it also has something to do with the professional who does this and how well they do it. But the one that pierced me, he was really professional, real sweet, and I barely felt anything. But if I got a piercing like here, I really think it will hurt. So that's also why I'm doubting that one, because again, no one likes pain. So I'll really be afraid about that, and I would be afraid that that piercing would damage my teeth and my gums, and I simply do not want that to happen at all. A piercing I forgot to mention that I've thought about getting is also a navel piercing, but then I often wear like things that cover me up, and I wear like high-waisted jeans and all that, so it just wouldn't suit what kind of clothing I wear. So it would end up getting really annoyed by the clothing that I wear. So most of the piercings that I've seriously considered getting, once these two are healed and I've saved up the money, because it can be expensive getting pierced. For me, getting my nose pierced and getting my third earlobe piercing cost me 590 kroners. And I'm gonna leave some other currencies so you can just see how much it cost me. And that was of course both for getting the piercing done, but also for getting the titanium jewelry that follow along, because when you get a new piercing you cannot put silver directly into it. So these two piercings, or these piercing jewelries that I've gotten with the piercings, they are made of titanium. Talking about piercings I thought about why not talk about piercings I definitely do not want. So piercings I definitely do not want is something like a tongue piercing, an eyebrow piercing. Just eyebrow piercing I don't think will suit me, and I think it's sitting in a place where you like knock it a lot and your hair will get in the way and it'll just be really annoying. And I don't want to get a tongue piercing simply because that must hurt a lot. I also think that you'll bleed a lot when you get it, and I see no reason for having it because it just sits in a place where so many things can go wrong in my opinion. So it's just not worth it and I do not want it. Also, just any kind of surface piercings that do not make sense, I do not want them. So you can get a piercing underneath here, underneath your bone here, so one that sits like underneath this bone. I don't know what it's called, but you can get one that sits underneath here and just think it's so stupid and makes no sense. Why would you get that? And then you'll get a piercing on the back of your neck. I think it's called a nape piercing or something. I just think that's so stupid. Why would you get a piercing like that just doesn't suit any purpose? It's not pretty, it's just annoying. I do not get why people get those kind of piercings, or piercings on the hands or on the feet or something like that. Just, it makes no sense. When it comes to the pain level of the piercings I've gotten, I've just talked about the two new piercings that I've just gotten done, and they weren't that bad. But when I was 16, I also got a nose piercing, and I've also got some earlobe piercings and the one up here, and they hurt more than the ones I've just gotten done because they weren't done professionally. They were done with a piercing gun, and if you've ever gotten anything done with a piercing gun, you know there's a kind of a shocking pain that goes through you when the ear stud goes through your ear. Definitely prefer getting them done professionally because it hurts a lot less. I barely felt anything when I got them done with a needle, with a piercing needle compared to a piercing gun. But again, I was younger and I didn't know better, and I just got them done at some jewelry shop and not even at a professional's place, and you should definitely get them done professionally. And when it comes to piercing guns, they're just really bad because with piercing guns you're just getting a ear stud thrust through your skin. There isn't any kind of a needle in these piercing guns, and you can't clean piercing guns, so that just ends up being a lot of problems because the stud is forced through your ear, so your skin can get traumatized and you can easily get infections, and your skin can start growing over the ear stud and you can end up swelling a lot, and the holes you've gotten done can just end up looking really bad. So there's just a lot of problematic things when it comes to getting pierced with a piercing gun, and that's why I definitely shouldn't do it. And any good professional who really cares about the work also knows that piercing guns are bad and will never ever pierce you with a piercing gun. You should always go for a place where you can get it done with a piercing needle, where the personal has a good reputation and it's a sterile environment, and the person who's piercing you uses a piercing needle. If they try to use a piercing gun, don't get pierced there, go to somewhere else. So when it comes to cleaning your piercings, it really differs from what kind of piercing you've gotten done. I got a brieflet with me home, and they also told me how I should clean my new piercings. So the way I do it is with a sterile saltwater spray. that is just for wounds. That is a great way to clean your new piercings. Or you can also make your own salt water at home, but I just prefer to use something that has already been made and is made for this purpose, because otherwise you have to, I think, boil some water and put a certain amount of salt in it and then clean it when the water has cooled down a bit. So you can do it in different ways, and they also gave me some treatment oil that I could also use. So there's different things that you can use for cleaning your piercings, and what kind of things you should use also depends on where you've gotten the piercings. So it's definitely just ask the place where you're getting pierced what you should use. And do not use any kind of cotton or anything that get stuck on your new piercing. You should use something like a foam washcloth that you also use for babies. So something that can't get stuck in your piercing in any way, shape or form, because cotton can get stuck in your piercing. And I clean my piercing once a day with sterile salt water spray that you use for wounds. Just use general hygiene and wash my hands before I clean my piercings. And I try not to knock them on anything or sleep on them. And I try not to have my hair loose for too long, because that can also irritate my ear piercing if my hair gets stuck in it. So you just have to think about how can you make the healing process the best you can for your new piercings. And of course, when you've cleaned it with salt water spray or something like that, it's always really important that you dry your piercing off so it's not wet, because if it's wet and moist, that's just the perfect environment for bacteria to grow and you to get an infection or something like that. And you should of course not use anything around your piercing while it's brand new before it has healed. So don't use any kind of cream or anything else around your new piercing, because it just needs the time to be able to heal. So when it comes to healing your piercings, it again depends on the piercing you've gotten and it depends on your body. But with the piercings I've gotten, it should take around 2 to 3 months to heal. And when it comes to sleeping with piercings, I have honestly had no problem with sleeping with them when it comes to the piercings that have already healed in my ears. But of course you need to have some kind of jewelry in that does not annoy you when you sleep on it at night. But otherwise I've had no problems with my piercings that have already healed, but the one that hasn't healed, of course I do not sleep on the side where I've just gotten my new earlobe piercing. And of course when you've gotten a new piercing, you need to remember that you've gotten it. So don't touch it, don't bump it into anything, don't sleep on it, don't get it caught on a towel or anything like that. So the reasons I have gotten this piercing done and the one over here is because that closed up again when I had the piercings in the last time. And that was because I've taken the jewelry out to clean it and I forgot to take the piercing jewelry in again, and then of course healed up. Especially something like the nose, you really need to remember to put the jewelry in right away again, otherwise it will close up really quickly, and one side of it will close up really quickly. It's just really important that you remember to have jewelry in your piercing, and when you're cleaning it, just remember to put it in quickly again so it does not heal up on one side and you cannot get it through again. And if that happens, just go to your piercer and they will definitely help you with the situation. Do you need to clean your piercings when they have already healed? So it's always a good idea to clean them. So just once in a while, take your piercings out, clean the hole that they are in, and clean the piercings themselves and put them back in. That's just always a good thing to do. And here you can just use, again, a sterile salt water spray. Or you can just make your own salt water. So my best recommendations when it comes to you getting piercings is get it done professionally at a place that has good ratings and a good reputation. Do not get it done in any kind of place that isn't a professional, like a jewelry shop, and get it done somewhere where there is a sterile environment and a place where they do not use piercing guns, and don't do it yourself. Never get anything done you're not sure about. So if you want a new piercing done, it has to be something that you're sure about and that you have thought about getting for a while before you get it. So if you're unsure about anything that you might want to get, then just wait until you're sure about if you want it or not, because it will leave a little mark in your body when you've had a piercing and you maybe decide you didn't want it any longer and heals up. So just be sure about it before you get it. And if you get a piercing, just remember it is a needle going through your body, so there will be some kind of discomfort or pain, and you just need to be alright with that. It's okay to say to the person piercing you that you are nervous, but you should not be unsure when you're in there. You're going there to get a piercing, so you should not move around or scream or anything like that. It's normal to make like a noise when you're getting pierced because it is uncomfortable, but just if you go in there, be sure that you want the piercing and don't decide while in there you don't want to get it, because you're just taking up the professional's time. And if it's a good place, they have a lot of work that needs to get done, so please don't take up that time with being unsure if you want it or not. So be sure before you go into the piercer that you want to get the piercing done that you thought about. So yeah guys, that was it for now. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon in another video. And if you like this video, please remember to subscribe. Bye guys!